Hey everybody, today we're starting our new podcast. This troll's a trap. Yabbity zooey, there's a big penis on that troll. So let's get into the fucking podcast. Lake, what are we talking about today?
Today we're going to talk about a couple strange events that have happened in this house that we lived in, that we decided to start recording this podcast. And so I want to talk about the first time that I met you, Connor, and Aidan, which was really strange because I came in here just to play video games and there was somebody making a fucking coffin in the basement. Please explain yourself why there was someone making a coffin in your basement.
Alright, so we have a friend named Wolfgang, and he's always kind of been out the box a little bit.
He's a little bit retarded.
But he came over and he was like, I want to build this coffin. For actually, we were doing a YouTube series on our channel, NTMA Productions, Wolfie's Beer Corner
trilogy.
And what happened was the first episode was just Wolfie being a retard. We got him incredibly drunk, and he acted retarded.
He threw up
and we got it, and
well,
pretty much
gave himself sriracha beer. We didn't even have to feed it.
Why did he do it?
Because what happened was he's like, I got this really good sriracha beer, and it tasted like coffee grounds.
Sriracha beer?
No, hold on. What he did, he wanted to be on our YouTube channel, and so he decided that he was going to make a beer review video.
Yeah.
And for some reason...
He wanted to film it in the closet
He
for some
picked
reason.
out, like, Bud Light and, like, 2 other normal beers, and then he spent, like, $20 on...
Sriracha beer, which is, like,
beer.
less than 40 ounces. It was, like, 20 ounces of sriracha beer.
What is sriracha beer?
Have you ever had sriracha sauce?
Well, yeah,
It's
that
mixed with
sriracha
really shitty beer,
Oh
and
my
it's official
God.
sriracha. You want to pass
It's like,
me the
let's take
chaser
two
for this
things
thing,
that
by the way? Speaking
Let's take
of
two
alcohol?
things that
like
make you
fucking
throw up.
coffee grounds.
Yeah, like beer, sriracha combined. They're guaranteed to
it
throw up
doesn't
their
taste a
guts.
single thing like sriracha.
No, I can't
It
imagine
tastes
it
like
does.
coffee grounds.
It probably
It's
tastes like
fucking gross.
vomit. It probably
But
tastes
anyways.
exactly like vomit.
We all
Anyways,
tried it.
back on topic. We all tried it. Wolfie starts throwing up outside.
He really
And
did.
I'm recording this, and I get it. And I sat on the video for like 3 months. I'm like, I don't really want to edit it because it's shitty. Then I realized the potential of just cutting Wolfie's actually beer review. And I'm like, we're just going to cut it to make him look like a massive retard. Shout outs to Wolfie. Love you, bro. But
We
we
pretty much
made him
left
look
in
like a
only the
massive
really
retard.
embarrassing
And
parts.
it was hilarious. We're like, this turned out so fucking well. So then we made a sequel last summer. So this is almost a year ago now. Where Wolfie goes to a waterfall, gets drunk, and he's hammered. He's
he was
chugged like
fucking
4
trash.
or 5 beers. And these things are like 40 proof beers. It's like $3 for a 4-pack.
Like 40s, yeah.
and
It's like
he's
Steel
just
Reserve or
trash.
Oh, yeah.
And Wolfie's like doing stupid shit. He's like, should I jump off the high cement? And he would have to clear like a 15-foot gap and land in this river that's like 5 feet deep. I'm like, dude, you will die. And
there
I'm
was,
not
like-
about to clean your dead ass body
There was,
off
like,
the
all
ground.
this shit he was doing that was
Explain that
super
you littered like
embarrassing.
5 things.
Like,
yeah.
he kept slapping his ass.
No,
and
we
he
got
was,
him
like,
to slap his ass. He's like, I'm not doing it. I'm like, fine.
was,
I'm like, it's
rolling
gonna
around
be
in the
funny.
river.
And he refused the entire time. And finally, I get him drunk enough that he's like, fine. So he starts slapping his ass cheeks, and he's like, that's not going in. Cut that out. And I put it in the video like 50 times, where it's just like,
Yeah.
You know, like,
You
you know,
use it
like,
as transitions. It would
on
just
the
be him
edges-
slapping his ass.
on
Yeah.
the edges of the river, you know how like that foam will pile up?
Yeah.
Like all the shit just piles up.
Oh, we
There was,
convinced
like-
him to go under.
There was like a 10-foot
Why?
wall of foam, and he swam under it and then raised up through it, so his
Yeah.
entire body was covered in the fucking.
My favorite
Like he
shot.
was in a hot tub and
Dude,
the
the
was so
video,
gross.
the video was so great because we got Wolfie to do so much retarded shit. Like, I convinced him to fill
Yeah,
I've
I've seen
convinced him to fill a whiskey bottle full of Arizona tea, but it looks like whiskey, and I convinced him to grab it from under his seat and start drinking it behind the wheel of the car because we thought that would be funny.
Yeah.
So he starts doing that. It was pretty epic. We got some epic shots in there. I thought it was a pretty good video.
Yeah.
But then Wolfie's like immediately, like that was like 4 months after the first video, where
Right.
I'm like, this might actually work, but we're gonna have to think of concepts. And Wolfie comes up with this high concept. He's like, I'm gonna make a coffin. It's gonna cost me like $400. I'm gonna pretend to be dead and rise in the coffin. And honestly, the first part was kind of funny for like 2 seconds, but it just felt gimmicky. And once Wolfie got out, he was already so trashed because we finished the coffin that day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it ended up being a really shitty video. That's the point.
Yeah, it's not
but we did get a clickbaited out. We thought it was pretty funny because it's
Yeah.
my friend actually dies for real. Is
That was the
title
name of the video?
Yeah.
Nice.
So then-
Definitely not clickbait was the fucking
Yeah. So then
parentheses.
on my birthday, we went out to the bar and we got super trashed, and everyone was there, including
Oh,
Wolfie.
yeah.
And we were trying for months.
We were trying to get rid of this coffin
We
for
were
a couple
trying
months.
for months to get rid of the fucking coffin because it was just taking up space.
It's literally just sitting in the basement.
Massive.
Right? Yeah.
It would just sit wherever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For a while, it
we
was
moved
sitting
around.
upstairs, and we had to like put a blanket on it when our grandparents came.
Yeah, our grandparents come over. So I'm like, fuck, what should we do with the coffin? We toss a fucking blanket over it.
You just like, you think, you're like, how do we explain the coffin that's in the living room?
Yeah, there's no.
Fucking just throw a blanket over it. There's no way
Yeah,
to
so this is
explain
a great story. So it's Aidan's birthday. You tell
So
me.
we take the coffin. We're all at the bar. We leave the bar, and
We're all trashed.
We had all come up with this plan behind Wolfie's back that we were gonna take the coffin because we thought, he doesn't want it, and we were gonna take it out to Superior Point, take it out to the beach, and
Light
it on
blaze.
fire
On the beach.
So we dragged that motherfucker out there. Doused it in gasoline, and we were trying to light fireworks
And
to shoot at
Wolfie's
it to
punching us, trying to get it. But here's
Well,
the
no,
crazy
Wolfie-
part. Before Wolfie shows up, the cops show up.
What?
And we're all
Yep.
trashed. And they're like,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
a missing person.
What?
And we're just standing there around this coffin like, please, do not notice we got a coffin. There's a missing person. We have a full-size
Hold on.
coffin.
Hold up.
Fireworks, and we're all
Some
trashed.
suicidal
There's a
person
recipe
like
for
ran
disaster.
into the woods and was like trying to kill himself.
Where
or
were
something.
you burning this coffin?
On the
Superior
beach.
Point on the beach.
Okay, so you're out in
We were
public
gonna
and the
shoot it
cops
with a
pulled up
bottle.
on
Our
you.
hope was to douse it in kerosene and then shoot a bottle rocket
Right,
at
right,
it,
right.
a big
Yes.
one.
But then
a
Wolfie
Roman
came
candle
and
started on
bunch of
fire.
shit, so-
Yeah, so Wolfie
And then-
starts punching out Paul.
Yeah,
Paul and Wolfie are punching
Wolfie
each other.
decided it was all Paul's fault because Paul and Wolfie
And he
lived together
straps
for a
this
while.
gasoline-covered coffin on the top of his car. I'm sitting there like it was awkward. But the point of the matter is we were trying to light it ablaze. And actually, the reason we have Richard upstairs is because Wolfie has this new high-concept idea.
Richard.
Where he wants to somehow start it in this room and then destroy a desk he buys from the Goodwill.
Uh-huh.
It might be hard now, but he wants to do that, destroy the desk, and then somehow he ends up on top of Anger Tower and he wants to weigh down
wants to
Richard
throw
and
the
throw
sex
it
doll.
up.
Okay, you gotta tell everybody what
Richard
Richard,
Richard is a sex doll.
Richard's our
It's
sex
a
doll.
fake sex doll. It's a blow-up
It
doll.
terrifies the dog, so we leave
Yeah.
it in front of Aiden's room because it doesn't
genius.
close, so that
Yeah.
the dog doesn't shit in Aiden's
I
room.
did not know that's why you put it there.
Yeah, no, she's
Yeah.
terrified of it. If
I
you
thought
put
you
it
guys
anywhere
were just
near,
trolls and
if
wanted
you
a
put it
sex doll
anywhere
on
near,
it.
she will literally just sprint the fuck away.
Oh.
And I had it standing guard in front of my room for a long time.
That
Jeez.
might be a
Like a
good
scarecrow.
episode. The Anger Tower episode might be a good episode, but I have to get Wolfie trashed. Because the problem with the Coffin episode is Wolfie was kind of trashed, but there was so much money he already put into it. Like $300
So he
for
wanted
this
to-
fucking budget for this video, which is our like 50 views on this one. But the production was so high, he's like, this has to be perfect, so I'm going to put in all these jokes, and it felt forced. The thing
Right.
that made Wolfie's Beer Corner funny is that Wolfie got highly intoxicated, was trying to take it serious, but it was just the crappiest joke video ever.
Right. Yes.
And it was great. That's why I like the Wolfie Spear Corners. They're good videos.
So it kind of ran into,
We ran into some hiccups with that one, but
Yeah.
it mostly stemmed from that. So that's why the coffin was being made in the basement.
All right,
That
yeah.
explains the reason the coffin
That
was
was
made
definitely a strange thing.
in the basement. The basement you're now living in, right here. We're
Oh,
actually
yeah.
sitting on the ground
Yeah.
where the tape used to be. You
we
can see the
we
mark.
decided to record a podcast in the basement, which is not nowhere close to looking like people should live in it, but I occupy it at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, you had to get kicked out of your house. So.
Yeah, that's true.
Pac-Man's dog. Tell us about Pac-Man's dog. Tell us
Pac-Man's
about
dog.
the Pac-Man
Oh,
stories.
jeez. Okay.
Tell us some good Pac-Man stories.
Some good Pac-Man stories. So, I had an apartment for a couple years that I moved into hastily before the school year because I needed a place. It was actually not that bad, pretty cheap. But then my brother and my friend Pac-Man moved in, and at one point while living there, Pac-Man just kind of showed up with his
You
dog.
actually consider Pac-Man your friend?
Well, I
Oh,
mean,
savage.
oh well, associate, music. He's a friend, but he's done some things. I'm not gonna lie. But like bringing a pit bull without asking me to my apartment, which was real fun, especially because it really,
Everywhere.
really didn't know how to poop and piss outside like he said it did.
Granted, one dog that poops inside basically for another.
And
Another dog that is not supposed
yeah,
to
that's
be at
true.
this
There's
house.
another dog here that does the same thing, but it's not quite as bad. Like the basement I live in isn't filled with like 30 turds like
There's
mine
only, like,
was
one
at the
turd
apartment. It
back
was
there now.
lined full of turds, and like
Oh god,
there
I
were.
feel so bad for your landlord. You had to
Oh, I
clean it
do
up
too,
because your
honestly.
partner would do
I
lazy.
feel real bad. Yeah, my landlord's ever listened to the podcast. I'm sorry, bro. I really had no control over it. I mean, I should have cleaned it up, but it was like not my mess. Yeah, basically the dog trashed the place. Pac still owes me for a cord that this dog ripped up that's for my computer. I want that shit. but whatever.
Pac-Man's quite the guy.
Pac-Man is
Anyways,
interesting.
shout out Loyal Leaders.
Yeah, go listen to Loyal Leaders
Entertainment
anyway.
on SoundCloud.
Yeah, shit on him.
Dog
Tell him to
shit
go listen to
everywhere.
his
Not
music.
you kicked out, but we're still
Yeah,
good.
listen to his last message. It's real deep.
Is it a deep song?
Yeah, it's good. I like it. But yeah, probably not the best way to shout somebody out. Just shit on them and then say check out your
Literally
music.
shit on him. Yeah, I kind of got stuck in a weird situation. So shout out Pac-Man though. So anyways, let's Blake, tell us a good story.
A good story. I'm trying to think of.
You know what's a good story?
What?
One of our first Duluth experiences when we came up here and got arrested.
Oh my
yeah,
god!
one of our first Duluth experiences.
All right, here we go.
Okay,
Well,
so
not like one of our first ever, but like
A good one.
a good experience. A one before we moved up here.
before that, we had pretty much just come up here on like family vacations and shit, and done like kind of
Well,
the beach and
didn't you already live up here with Paul? You were already living in Paul's
shit.
apartment.
No, because we had to drive back up. Remember? We both drove up that one day.
So this must have been right before you moved. No.
Yeah, it was like.
Oh no, it
a
was
few
the
months
summer.
before.
It was after you moved up.
So what is it?
You moved back to
I moved
Dad's.
back, and then so there's on top of the hill. There's this school. It's the Central High School. Like apparently it was like the
Like the
main high school
Yeah.
of the city.
Back in the day.
Back in the day, and it closed in like the mid '90s or some shit.
No, it closed in 2011.
Oh.
Yeah.
I googled this shit
Close
after
at some
the
point.
story.
After the fact, of course. Look up your shit on the place you're going to after you've already gone
But
there.
we basically realized.
Well,
that,
what happened was we were watching this show on YouTube called Abandoned. Shout out to that guy. Good show, kind of
Jake
interesting.
from Abandoned.
Jake from Abandoned. And we're like, you know what? We can also hunt through abandoned places. So we go to this high school and we're like, oh, it's all boarded up. You know, so they were taking some maintenance serious. But we're walking around. We're like, this grass is super overgrown. Tennis courts, it's all
It looked
dilapidated. It looked abandoned. It was kind of interesting. And then we see this boarded up window. And we're like, oh, a screwdriver. We'll unscrew it. We'll go through. Just walk around the high school, check it out. And
Yeah,
then we'll
someone
screw it
else-
back up and leave.
like
Right.
well before we got there, someone else had like thrown a brick through the window. Or
So it
whatever,
looked like
and they
people
just-
had already been doing
They
it.
just
Oh
put
no, people
plyboards
were
on.
definitely
Oh,
in there because there was some
Mm-hmm.
graffiti, there were some punched out windows inside and shit. So we're like, what's the harm in us going in for like a half
What
hour,
could go
checking
wrong?
it out? There's nothing that can go wrong. It's not like they have silent alarms or anything in these buildings. So we're going around. The first thing I do is we get inside. We're walking around because we get in through the principal's office.
Who all was there?
Me, Paul, and Wolfie. And
and-
Aidan.
so-
So
We've already been tried for the crime. Spoiler alert. We've already been tried for the crime, so we can't get judged for this.
Spoiler
So we
alert.
go in, and I see the principal has a private toilet in his office. And I'm like, oh, the water's off. So I start urinating the guy's toilet. And I think
Yeah,
this
good
is
start, good
hysterical.
start.
And we're like, well, we're kind of stuck in this room. But then we found out, like, you can open it. But every door is one way. So you
Pretty
can
much,
open it out, but you can't open it in. That's to prevent school shooters,
Yeah,
don't want
yeah.
another Columbine situation.
Right.
So we're wedging all these doors because we don't know where we're getting out. We go around, we're just chilling. We steal a couple clocks
Yeah, like
off the wall.
we were stealing the clocks off
For
the wall
souvenirs.
because they said like Duluth
Central
public
High
schools
School.
or
We're
whatever.
like, it's a souvenir. Like, you go to the
That would-
Grand Canyon,
Yeah.
you get a Grand Canyon.
So we're
clock.
wandering around.
So we're
And
stealing souvenirs left and right.
We took the clocks and we also found a fire hydrant and we were planning on firing that off too. Thank God.
Fire-
Yeah,
the
thank
fire
God we
hydrant?
didn't, because apparently that's a felony.
Yeah, that would have been real bad because that's kind of hard to like stop. People gotta come in and like
Clean
force
it, but it's also
And it's- you said a
misusing.
fire hydrant?
It's technically a safety hazard.
Or
It's
did you mean like the
fire hydrant?
Like, the fire
Or
extinguisher.
fire extinguisher,
I was
yeah.
gonna say fire hydrant
Yeah,
sounds even
So
worse.
we walked
found
around
a
the school,
fire
almost got
extinguisher.
locked in the fucking locker room. I would have smashed the fucking window out if I got locked in there.
Yeah.
But we ended up carving our initials in there and we closed the door.
Of course.
We left our, because there were other
black box.
vandals that carved in there. So we're like, okay, we weren't vandalizing shit. We were just here to urban explore and maybe take a couple clocks off the wall. Who's gonna miss them?
So
Who's
we're
gonna miss
walking
them?
around and
Everything's going good.
we're trying to figure out how to get to the upstairs and Wolfie's like,
We
I
did
got-
get upstairs.
Yeah.
We kind of did.
We found the stairs, yeah.
We couldn't get.
But
didn't,
we
like,
were
end up
upstairs,
doing
but it was like
But
nothing.
Wolfie's like, I'm not really comfortable with this. By this time, we had been there for like 45 minutes.
We're
so
like,
we're
you're
like,
a
nobody's
pussy.
coming,
You're a
you know?
pussy. Get
You're-
out of
you're
here.
a
You might as well
fucking
just leave if
pussy.
you're gonna be such a pussy.
And
about
so
it.
Wolfie puts his clock in his bag and he leaves.
Yeah, Wolfie
And
gets the clock.
We're
He leaves.
and we're
We were
probably
walking around,
parked-
and then we go to the cafeteria. We see all the
Yeah, we're
cafeteria
probably
equipment,
parked, like,
and there's
5
clothes all over the floor.
Yeah,
What?
there was like some
What?
sort of recital or something.
Recital or something probably.
In
But
the
you
abandoned
look,
high
and
school.
basically like It's
or
like
whatever it is.
this thing is like a big circular lunchroom, and there's glass windows all over. Actually, a pretty nice lunchroom, and you can oversee Lake Superior. It's really cool.
And then it has like a catwalk.
And we're looking,
and all of a
and
sudden,
I'm chilling. No, what happens
call.
is we explored the kitchen, and I'm just looking out there. I get a call from Wolfie, and
I
I
got
thought
the
Wolfie
call.
was gonna be like, "Hurry up." Yeah, whoever got the call, but we answered the call. Wolfie's
says-
like, "There's cops," and we're like, "You're full of shit, Wolfie. You're full of shit."
Yeah, and then he's like, no, seriously, I'm crouched in the bushes. There's like 15 cop cars coming up, and I'm like, we gotta get the fuck out of here. And so
No, I thought he was
out the
faking
door.
it. So we go out the door and we're like, we'll leave anyways because at this point we've seen
Right.
everything. We made it through the whole school. This is really the last stop.
Yeah.
I look out. I'm like, I don't see anything. Look to the left. There's 2 fucking cops by the fucking place where we entered. You can kind of see it from over
Yeah,
there.
so we start
and
running
dogs. There's fucking dogs.
We start running one way around the catwalk, and there's like 4 cars coming up.
Easily
we start,
4 cars
We
intercepted
start
us.
running the other way, and we start running down the hill, and we're just.
Well, I
trying to get as
stopped
far
like
as
immediately.
possible.
They start pointing their guns at us. They're like, "Get the fuck on the ground!"
Well, so
They're,
they
like,
just
freaking
barged.
out.
They came right in and just right up on you. Like when
No,
when you
we
on
were
them, or
outside. We
you
got
were
into the
outside?
yard.
Yeah.
What we were planning to do was
Okay.
book it for the woods.
Right.
And the cop cars, someone must have seen us. 4 cop cars, probably people that were already parked, I would assume,
Right.
come after us. And they hop out, guns pointed at us. Get the fuck on the
Yeah,
ground.
at that point,
Paul's still
kinda
running.
call it. Wow.
I think
I
Aidan
gave
was
the
on the
fuck up.
ground first.
I didn't
too.
go on the ground.
I
just
probably,
fucking-
like, my
hands in the
jog
air.
went from, like, fast. I see the cars come around. It's like a light jog. All of a sudden, I'm walking, like, the end of the fucking marathon or some shit when I'm all tired. It's like,
We
you know what?
already
I'm
lost.
fucked. They come out with the guns. My hands are over my head. They're
Yeah.
like, get the fuck on the ground! And they're
And
like,
so we're all
on the ground.
Wait, so did Paul get out there?
Connor and
No,
Paul both
Paul
get-
got caught.
Connor and Paul both get handcuffed. I don't for some reason.
Paul's only handcuffed for like a minute. I get
Yeah.
thrown on the cop car and they investigate me. I don't know why they picked me.
They thought you
So-
looked the
interrogated
sketchiest.
the shit
So
out
we
of
all
Connor.
skipped like Paul. They found Paul's B&E equipment. I forgot about that. They're like,
Yeah, we
they're
had-
like, how did you enter? I'm like, the window was open. They're like, why does your friend have break and entering equipment? I look over. There's some dude. One of the cops are digging through Paul's bag. There's
And
like
it's full of,
fucking
like,
screwdrivers,
crowbars.
flashlights, crowbars, fucking knives and shit. I'm like, Paul, what the fuck?
You're like,
not-
can I
it
take
didn't
back
look
my
Like,
last
we should have
statement?
did one screwdriver, toss that shit in the trash or
Yeah,
something, so we
yeah,
could have got
we
away with
should've.
it. But we honestly thought for some reason there would be no silent alarms.
Obvious.
I don't know why we figured
Yeah.
that the
So
school would
anyway.
have no silent alarms.
They talked to us.
They interrogated us.
I
and
kind of just.
I lied.
I kind of gave it up. Connor and Paul tried to play smart, where Paul.
Paul gave up quicker
Paul-
than me because I kept going, and they're like, both of your friends have confessed. And I'm like,
No,
I don't know
Paul
what you're
didn't
talking about. I don't
confess.
even know how I got inside.
Paul didn't confess. Paul just sat there saying, "I don't remember. I don't remember."
Nice.
Yeah, no, they probably thought Paul was on
think
drugs or
they
something.
were just bullshitting.
They're like, you got drugs? They checked me out. They're like, no drugs. And they're like, honestly, the jig is up. He's got the B&E equipment. It's pretty obvious. You guys just opened the window. Why
Yeah.
were you in there? And I'm like, they're like, honestly, if you keep lying to us, it's just gonna make it worse for
Yeah.
you. So I'm like,
That's true.
What happened was we went in because we thought it would be cool. We wanted to walk around the abandoned high school. We thought it would be fun. And he's like, that's really stupid. You're gonna ruin your life. And then the building manager comes up and he's like, okay, Buster, what's up? And then I talked to the building manager. We became like friends. We started talking about how the weather was nice and
What?
shit. Me and the building manager talked for like a good 20 minutes
Yeah,
while I'm
basically-
handcuffed up on this shit. Then he's like, look,
As
I'm
it
gonna
turns
do what
out-
I can to make sure you don't get a felony and
Yeah.
ruin your life today.
The
Oh,
school
and I was like,
board-
thanks, dude.
The
Like,
school board wanted to slap us with like felony
Yeah.
burglary.
Right, yeah.
And
Just for
then-
money.
I don't know if this
The-
was the building handler or a member of the school board.
The
but
building
he basically
manager or
realized I
whoever
was a retard.
Connor talked to.
And this is like
talked-
May 15th. I just turned 18 like 4 days
The
before.
building
That's why we're up
manager-
in Duluth.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
wow.
building manager talked the school board down from felony burglary to like misdemeanor trespassing.
And then the
But
DA was
anyway.
just like,
It's like months later.
it's like
And-
5 months. Like they set us out. Like
Yeah, we drive back
this
up
was
to
like the
Duluth for
spring.
court.
This is like the
you know?
fall when we go back.
Mom and Dad do not know
Mom
about
has
this.
no
We're
idea.
just like, man.
Oh,
I,
wow.
the plan was
So we
like
slip out to
liter-
Duluth.
I don't know what our plan was. Like somehow we were gonna leave our phones with Micah or something and just be like, you gotta text our parents and pretend we're living in Duluth or something.
Wow.
Like we're gonna have to figure something out.
Yeah.
We were just planning on playing the long game lie and
We
just be
got
like we
there.
failed. That's why we're not getting any jobs.
Oh,
not
and
because
I forgot. At this time, Wolfie, since he got away.
Oh, Wolfie got the clock.
Yeah.
He snuck back to his car. He kept the clock, but he snuck back to his car and he went to the
Oh.
Dollar Tree and got fucking snacks.
Yeah. Wolf,
Anyway.
we're like Wolfie texts me and it's like I'm getting snacks, and then literally They usher us out the front. They're like, basically it's on this hill, like it's annexed on this hill, like almost like an island type thing. And then we went down the hill, and they're like, "So you waiting for a ride?" And then I awkwardly had to talk to the cops for like 5 minutes until our accomplice Wolfie pulls up. It's like, "Hey guys, get on in." Like,
So anyway.
See ya.
So anyway, we come up for court.
5 months later again, right?
We come up for court. It's like 4 or 5 months later, whatever.
Yeah.
And basically, when we get there, Paul had his meeting first, and he's like, "Talk to the prosecutor," because
No, what
they'll
happened was
do a deal with
Paul
you.
got pushed back.
Yeah, whatever. We talked to the prosecutor.
Paul's was after us.
We talked to the prosecutor, and the prosecutor basically.
She's
was
like, "Did you punch the windows out?" We're like, "No, that wasn't us." And she's like, "Can you prove it?" I'm like, "The glass was one way. We entered through a spot where we couldn't get in there." And then she's like, "Okay." Like, she didn't need evidence or anything. She just said, "Okay," and that was it. And
She
then
believed you, I guess.
And then she lowered
sent
our,
us over to the judge.
She
sent us over to the judge.
Yeah, but
we didn't know.
She wrote a recommendation, and basically
we
they
told her
lowered
we were
us from
retarded.
misdemeanor trespassing to city ordinance trespassing, which is like, it's like a ticket, like a
Wow.
speeding
It was
ticket
like
is
$165.
that. We ended up paying like $165 each for this.
Damn,
Like,
that's
I've had-
really not that
I've
bad.
had speeding tickets that are worse. But
Yeah.
it's a city ordinance. It also doesn't like go on
No,
the record
it
or
wasn't
anything.
even on. It was like 2 months. It was on our record as we had a city ordinance, but that
Yeah.
doesn't affect like
You
job
guys got
placement or
lucky.
anything.
Yeah,
as
no, it doesn't
shit.
show up on like background checks. And
Damn.
then it just goes away after like 2 months.
Wow.
So we
nobody
essentially
really
Wolfie got
knows.
the most away with it, but everyone.
Yeah,
pretty
Wolfie
much
got a
away
clock and everything. He's like,
That's
"I'm keeping
nice.
this."
Yeah, he had it on his wall.
Moral of the story
I
is
would.
somehow Wolfie just like has spider sense or something. It was like, "This is gonna be bad pretty soon here."
Yeah.
Literally, Wolfie literally left at the right time because
Oh,
if
yeah.
it was like he's like literally, I saw the cop. Like he said, he got halfway down the hill, started hearing the doors open, saw cops starting coming up. He crouched in the woods till all the cop cars left, and his car is parked like in an obvious position where he was probably the getaway driver.
Right.
He hops in the car and just drives
just
a couple
takes it
blocks
off,
off.
yeah.
He got away.
Wow.
Yeah.
We got fucked. But anyways, it wasn't that bad because we were smart enough not to completely loot the place. Paul did have a clock in his, which got returned, and they're like, "We're just gonna not mention that the clock was on the record." Basically,
They were
it
bros.
worked out in the end.
Kind of worked out because they were bros. They're like,
It
well,
worked out
I mean,
in the
yeah,
end.
we
Should-
essentially got away with.
Should I tell the other
Breaking
time
it.
I almost got basically arrested by about 15 cops?
When?
Uh,
In Forest Lake?
Which
yeah,
one?
this was Forest Lake, the time we were playing with Andy.
Oh god.
Okay, so one day, I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh cards with my friend Andy, and we had a group of friends back in the day, most of which hate us now. Long story. But, it was me, Corinne, Andy, Paul, you, and Micah? Who was the sixth person there? Because you had someone... Because you were dropping
We had
Andy
to hide
out.
someone
Andy
too.
was
We
the
dropped
host.
Andy. Who did you drop? It was you, Corinne, and then
Me, Corinne, and
Micah,
Andy
Paul,
were on
Andy.
one team.
Who did you drop?
I don't remember. Was it Ashley? I don't think she was there that day.
No, it wasn't Ashley.
Was it...
I mean,
Maybe it was Wolfie.
it doesn't matter.
No.
I don't think Wolfie was there.
No,
It
no,
doesn't
no.
really matter, but
Okay.
whatever. So anyways, Aidan drops Andy off. Andy's not the brightest bulb. I worked with him at Cub. This is like a week or two before
a
I get my
fucking
first
idiot.
job. I just turned 16. So, yeah, all these happened like right after my birthday for some reason. Probably happened like the same day, like 2 years before the actual high school incident. So we're playing hostage. Basically, the rules of hostage, if you don't know, is it's kind
yeah,
of like
yeah,
capture
this
the
story.
flag. So what happens is you blindfold one person on the opposite team and you drop them off somewhere at random. And then basically they have to call you and you have to figure out where they are and pick them up.
The people in the other car
And
try to find
Andy
the
is
person that was dropped off.
probably one of the, not the brightest bulb in the world.
He's stupid.
So Andy gets dropped off by Holiday on North Shore.
Yeah, we dropped him off on like this road in the middle of North Shore.
Was it still like in town?
It was in town.
Yeah.
This is all
Yeah,
in
no.
town.
So
Our rules was
okay.
within Forest Lake City limits. So I call him. I'm like, Andy, where are you? He's like, I'm lost in the swamp. I'm lost in the swamp. He's freaking out. I'm like, what do you mean you're lost in the swamp? He's like, I see a red light. I'm like, what is it? It's probably like a gas station, right? He's like, I think it's Quick Trip. And I'm like, okay. So I know there's a Quick Trip, and there's happens to be a swamp by this Quick Trip. It's by where one of my friends used to live.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, so we're gonna go out to Quick
And
Trip.
this
And
Quick Trip
we're
is not
driving around.
anywhere
I'm like,
near
are
where
you
Andy
sure you're by Quick Trip? And he's like, I'm positive. I can see it's Quick Trip. I'm like, okay. So we drive out towards Quick Trip. I'm like, we're driving by Quick Trip. You just need to walk and get to get out to the neighborhood street. And me and Corinne are around, and Corinne and I are just talking about random shit. She's bitching in my ear because Corinne always hated me. We're driving around.
Corinne's a fucking cunt.
And Corinne's like, we can't find Andy.
She dated Wolfie for a while.
Yeah.
That's another thing.
I'm like, we can't find Andy. We can't find Andy. And she's bitching in my ear. I'm like, okay, whatever. And finally I pull over. He's like, I can't get out of the swamp. I'm like, walk. You're already in the swamp. You're already wet. What does it matter? How did you get in the swamp? Because I know Aidan and Micah can't just toss you in the middle of the swamp. He's like, I see Quick Trip. I'm like, fine. You know what I'm going to do, Andy? I'm going to swim my ass to the middle of the fucking swamp and get you out. Is that what you want? He's like, yes, you got to save me. I'm like, motherfucker. And while the car is moving, I jump out of the fucking car while Corinne's moving. And I start running through these neighborhoods. I get through like 3 or 4 backyards. All of a sudden I see a flashlight. I'm like, Corinne, turn that fucking flashlight off or I'm going to punch you in the fucking mouth. And I turn around and it's a police officer. She pulls her gun out. She's like, stop right there. And runs at me. It's a female cop too. And I basically just admitted I was going to do some domestic violence against a woman. Which I wouldn't. I would never hit a woman.
This time,
I never would.
By this time, my team had already picked up our hostage.
Yeah, you guys picked up the hostage.
Living the good life.
I'm like, I need to explain to you. She's like, what's going on right now? I'm like, my friend Andy is lost in the swamp. We were just playing a game called Hostage. It's kind of like Capture the Flag. All of a sudden, she's like, yeah, we got a hostage situation. This guy who might be on drugs got a hostage and he lost the hostage. And I'm like, no. Like, okay. And she's like, come over with me to Quick Trip. I need to go to Quick Trip. I'm like, I need to find Andy. And then I'm like, he's in the swamp. This isn't a big deal. We're just playing a game. And I don't know why I said the game was hostage. I should have just said it was super hide and seek or something. Yeah,
you should have just.
But I said it was hostage. She's like, I need backup over here. And I run off because I'm like, fuck this chick. I'm about to find Andy and then we'll get this all squared up. And I'm like, Andy! And I'm in the swamp. And then this cop comes. She's like, I suggest you come to Quick Trip with me right now. And I'm like, fine. I'm coming to Quick Trip. We'll figure this out. Then we're going to find Andy. I call Andy. I'm like, I was in the swamp by Quick Trip. The police are here. Where are you? And he's like, the swamp by Quick Trip. I'm like, I was in the goddamn swamp, Andy. You're not in the swamp by Quick Trip. And he's like, I'm in the swamp by Quick Trip. And the swamp by Quick Trip has like 5 feet water. I know that for a fact just because like I've been in that area quite a bit. Yeah. I'm like, this is a small swamp, Andy. Swim your ass out of the swamp and explain to these police officers that I'm not holding you hostage. And the sergeant tosses me in handcuffs at this point. He's like, where's your friend Andy? I'm like, Andy, we're playing a game. And Andy is lost in the swamp. And he's like, what do you mean he's lost in the swamp? Where's the hostage? And he's flashing in my head. He probably thinks Andy's dead in the swamp. He probably thinks Andy's dead in the swamp.
They're talking.
No, so here's what happens. Let me do this. So she puts me on Corinne's car. And he's like, okay, I'm going to unhandcuff you. You need to show me what's in your pockets. I'm like, okay. He starts feeling my pockets. He's like, what's this? I'm like, my wallet. He's like, are you sure it's not drugs? Are you positive? Because I'll make it easier on you if you just admit it's drugs. I'm like, it's not drugs. It's my wallet. And he's like, you look like you're on something right now. You're running
heard of
around.
a driver's
you
license?
can understand. I didn't have my driver's license at this point.
Oh,
I just turned 16.
Oh,
I literally got my license like a week later. But anyways, he starts feeling my pocket. He's like, this feels awful weird.
You kidnapped somebody when you were a 15-year-old kid? Like
I was 16. But,
16, but still.
He starts
And
feeling my
Andy
pocket.
was like almost 18.
Andy was 18. Because Andy's like 2 years older than me. But he starts patting my pocket. He's like, this honestly does not feel like a wallet. To me, this feels like drugs. I'm like, fine. He's like, grab it out of your pocket. I stick my hand in my pocket like really fast because I'm just about to pull this out and show this motherfucker. And he's like, stop! I'm like, what? He's like, if you pull that out too fast, I will tase your ass to the ground. I'm like, okay. So I put my hands up. He pulls it out, looks through it, starts tossing my shit on the ground, like my cash and stuff. He's like, where's the drugs? Throws it on the ground, pulls the other thing on my pocket. It's my phone. He puts it on Corinne's car. And then he's like, fine, I'll be right back. Walks to the Corinne. Corinne's like, what do you want, officer? And he's like, is this kid on drugs right now? And she's like, I think he's on drugs! I think he's on drugs right now!
Yeah,
I'm like, Corinne, I was with you the whole fucking night! And I'm pissed at this point. I'm like, when did I do these drugs?
She must have just
What
been
are you
freaking
talking
out.
about? Yeah,
Oh,
she
no,
was.
She's just a fucking
but she's a
retard.
spaz, too. And I'm like, yo, chill out, officer. I'm not on drugs. We'll get this figured out.
Talk about
and
an
I'm like,
impulsive
he's
lie.
like, where's the hostage? I'm like, we are playing a game. And he's like, hostage situations aren't a game. And you trick the police officers. Now I want to know where he is. I'm like, I'll call my friends to pick him up. I call Aidan. Aidan doesn't answer. I call Paul. Because Aidan never answers when I call. I call Paul. I'm like, Paul, where's Andy? There's like 6 police officers. I'm arrested in the Quick Trip parking lot. and there's these cops standing around me, and this is on speaker because they want to hear what Paul says.
I can only
And
imagine.
Paul's like, oh, this is so funny. You're arrested by the police? Connor, you're a retard. You're a retard, Connor. Fuck you, Connor. I'm not coming. Then he hangs up, and I'm like, and now he thinks these guys are gonna kill Andy or something.
Yeah.
They're like, you gotta get Andy right now.
What? They didn't
I'm like,
hear
these
that?
guys
Like-
know where Andy is. So I call Paul back. I'm like, please, Paul, bring me Andy. And he's like, haha, fine, Connor, you retard. I'm like, okay.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, and now I'm pissed at Andy.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here for like 20 minutes. They're interrogating me. They're flashing flashlights in my eyes. All these cops are like, what are they going to do? They're like 5 feet away from me, loudly discussing what they're going to do with me. Like if they're going to toss me in the drunk tank in the night, even though I'm on 0 drugs right now. All of a sudden, Paul, Aidan, and Micah, whoever, come back. I think they had snacks, like McDonald's or something.
Yeah,
they had
did.
snacks, and it was like 25 minutes before these guys show up. And in town, like, they could have been there in 10 minutes.
Right.
But they're like, oh, we stopped at McDonald's. And they're eating McChickens. The police officers are like, and they had Andy in tow. Andy comes out and he's like, I'm not hostage. And it's like, Andy, you Jar Jar Binks motherfucker. I'm gonna smash your teeth out your mouth. I'm gonna knock those braces out your mouth. And the orthodontist has a lot more work to do,
Comes
'cause I'm
in
about
like
to
he's
smack
saving
your
the
mouth.
world. I did it. I'm not a hostage.
Yeah,
And Connor's
exactly.
like, shut the fuck
And
up.
then, like, check
And you
the
know what the
ID.
best part
And
is?
then,
my life.
everybody else got released, including Corinne. They had me in handcuffs. We had to stand there another 25 minutes. I had to call my dad. My dad's sleeping because it's like 2 a.m. by now. I call him. I'm like, he's like, what's happening? I'm like, Dad, I'm arrested because I was playing a game. And he's like, what? And I'm like, you have to pick me up. And then he picks me up. He's like, you're the biggest retard in the world, Connor.
Okay,
How do
and
you
then-
get arrested at 2 a.m.? Never call me again. You're going to be sleeping
Yeah.
in jail. I'm like, okay.
Like 2 weeks after this, the front page of our hometown newspaper had this huge report about the game Hostage and how dangerous it was
Yep.
and how it wasted police resources.
I was an unnamed suspect, had
Yeah.
a hostage, and the police were confused, and they wasted a bunch of like $2,000
I think the
in
police
resources
just
to
felt
arrest
so
me.
stupid about the whole thing because they couldn't figure
Well, they
out
had
that
to
it
have
was just
told
a
the
game.
newspaper. They're
So
like,
that
these
they're-
fuckers. We're gonna
Well,
get
yeah,
them."
but they probably had to put out a way to explain themselves.
Well, they
So
were
they're
probably
like,
gonna
it's
try
the
to
game
get
hostage.
They
It's
probably
the game
wanted to set it
hostage.
up
That's-
as like a PSA, and they probably.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they were probably talking about how much drugs I was on. They're like, these
Right.
drug addict fucking kids are
Yeah.
doing all this shit. Again, not on drugs at all. Again, Corinne, fuck you.
That's
Also,
I don't like Corinne.
I have another nice lady cop story from Force.
Oh! This is one of my favorite.
It's,
All right, this
so
is the
basically,
getting arrested special, dude.
We're
Yeah, it
driving.
is, it
We're
is.
driving home from Walmart because
Getting
you know
arrested
it's a small town. Whatever. All there is to do is go fuck around at Walmart, and we got some snacks or whatever.
It's a middle-sized town, like 20,000 people.
Connor, while he's there. Oh no, you already had the backpack.
Yeah, no, what happens is we
had-
were going to Walmart, and
we had this-
somehow I'm like, I
Like,
was probably stoned as a
children
bitch.
size. We had like this children.
I still have it upstairs.
John Cena backpack. Connor has it upstairs.
What is the background for this?
But we
video?
just bought it, right? We just buy this shit. And Aidan, we're driving
It's a
through our
chil-
old...
No, I want to tell because you just did the hostage
fine,
story
fine.
for like 30 minutes. And then there's this children-sized John Cena backpack that Connor bought, basically to use as like a drug smuggling bag, you know.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And he
stuffed
throw-
some weed in the
He
back.
throws it
Yeah.
on the dashboard of the car. We're driving, and we're driving through like the elementary school parking lot, and
I had
it
no
was-
more than $40 in weed at me at the time.
It was
so
like-
no felonies here.
It was like, you know, it was kind of late. It was like probably 12:30 or whatever.
Yeah.
And we're driving, and there's like this narrow passageway, and the
With like a bunch of speed bumps.
The sidewalk had like one of those,
One of
those,
like the
like-
walking things where you can like
the
walk
dip
up
where
it.
you can
Yeah.
walk up and they can roll wheelchair people up or whatever.
Right.
And I was just like bored, so I like drove
No,
up it.
you said I gotta skip the speed bump because we used to do this fairly often where we'd
Yeah.
skip the speed bump by driving on the sidewalk.
Because this thing had
of
this
an
parking
elementary
lot
school.
had like 1,500 speed bumps.
Yeah.
So I drive up around the speed bump on the
and
sidewalk.
there's a car
go
blatantly
down.
behind us, which is a cop.
And so the cop pulls up, and
Flashes lights. Literally, we get off. I'm like, Aidan, this is retarded. There's a car right behind us. It's probably a cop. You're like, oh, no, it's not. All of a sudden, like, literally that second, it's like the flashing lights go, and it's like, fuck.
yeah. So we get pulled over, and the cop's like,
Oh, God.
"Are you
This is-
drunk?"
It's
and I'm like,
lady
"No,
cop,
no."
right? Lady
yeah,
cop?
it's a lady
Yeah,
cop.
no, she pulls up. She's
It's
like,
like-
license and registration, checks it out.
You know,
she's
she's
like,
doing all
are
the
you
stuff.
drunk?
She's shining the flashlight at me, and she's like, "Are you drunk?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not drunk." She's like, "Are you on
And
drugs?"
Aiden's
I'm like,
slurring and shit because
no.
it's Aidan.
You were just
I'm like,
feeling the
nervous.
pressure. I
No,
mean, you
I'm not-
just got pulled over.
"I'm not on drugs. I'm not drunk. I was just being stupid."
Right.
And then she's like, are you sure you're not drunk? And I'm like, I promise you I'm not drunk. If you want, you can blow me. And she's completely silent. She just stares at me. Like, I meant breathalyzer test.
Right.
And I was just, like, nervous as fuck. And she just, like, sits there for a minute. Like 30 whole seconds of silence, and she's like, don't go anywhere. She calls back up, and this other cop comes and he starts doing like drug tests and shit on me, and he comes over to the car and he looks in the car with the flashlight, and he's looking around.
No, yeah, he's peering around back seat. Then he gets to the
at
front
the
bag.
backpack.
John clicks it off.
And
clicks it off right there.
He clicks the flashlight off.
Right after he sees the backpack.
He sees the backpack. He clicks the flashlight off. He walks up to me and he's like, I know you were trying to impress your friends or whatever, just make sure you're driving safe from now on. And I'm like, yes, officer. I get in and Connor says, you know that cop let you go because he thinks you're retarded, right? I'm like, what? He's like, that John Cena backpack? He probably thinks you're a legitimate retard, dude. And I'm like,
because the way you were acting, you were so nervous. You're like, no, officer, no. And he's talking like a goddamn. He sounded like he had fucking what do you call it? Tourette's. He had autism. It looked like he had the platter. Fucking retard.
Just got nerves flowing through you. I understand.
I was doing some autism shit.
Yeah.
And basically, I guess in conclusion, the story is, if you look like a retard, the cops are gonna go easy on you.
Yeah, there you go.
They don't want to arrest a retard.
No.
So maybe smuggling drugs in a kid's backpack is a genius.
Well, sometimes it's helpful.
That's not how you do it.
As long as you look and sound like a retard.
You got to do it Mexico style, where you get a dead baby, you cut it open, you stuff it with marijuana, and then you get on the plane, and you're like, "This is my baby."
This is my baby. It's
and
not obviously dead, cut up, and sewed back together.
Just pretend it's really
It
quiet.
doesn't
baby.
stink like a rotting corpse would.
Very quiet baby.
So I think at this point we should wrap it up. I'll do one last story.
Okay. All right. I'm ready.
So me and Aidan have been known to go through a lot of cars. We've crashed a Nissan, crashed a Chevy Malibu, Mitsubishi.
Never changed the oil.
Aidan's fault. Mitsubishi starts on fire because the oil never got changed. BMW breaks down because the radiator. We just got a fresh new van from Aidan's friend's dad, right? So Isaiah's like, we're gonna see my friend Isaiah, good guy. Maybe he'll make the podcast eventually.
Hopefully.
We thought it would be. He's like, let's go out to the ghetto because I have to meet up with my.
Was I here?
No, you were back home. I went back. I don't know why I went back. For some reason, I think it might have been my birthday last year.
So he just randomly brought up, said, "Hey, let's go to the ghetto."
Well, his godbrother lives there.
Okay.
His godfather actually died a few years back because his godfather went to prison. Because Isaiah's dad used to be like, I don't know if I should be saying this because his dad's a Catholic priest now, but his dad used to be like a huge crack addict and sold drugs and all that shit. So his best friend, a drug dealer from the ghetto,
right,
ends up going to prison for years, dies. But Isaiah's still, literally the day he comes out of prison, dies of a heart attack in the grocery store.
Oh my goodness.
Wait, the first thing he does. Friend? No, his friend's dad. Isaiah's friend's dad gets out of prison, dies in the grocery store of a heart attack. He was gonna buy some steaks for his family to eat as a thing. Dies in the grocery store while he's getting the steaks. Literally 2 hours after he gets out of prison. Sad story, unfortunate. R.I.P. that dude.
Yes.
But Isaiah remained friends with the godson because they still did shit with the godson. The dad was in jail for a long time, it sounds like. But even they were kind of like each other's godsons, so they're god brothers basically. Right, they're good friends, lifelong friends,
like their family kind of thing. Yes.
Dude lives in the absolute ghetto of St. Paul. Like, this is one of those areas where you look, every car has a sketchy dude in it, low riders. Me and Isaiah were scared this Mexican dude started following us because I kind of cut him off on the road, and he follows us all the way to the house and then looks at us.
Yeah.
I'm like praying to God the dude doesn't shoot us. So I'm like, this is ghetto. I feel uncomfortable. We go into the room. Super nice guy, his friend. We're like, yeah, whatever. So we smoke a shitload of weed. I'm super baked because I didn't smoke that much weed at this point. This is kind of when I started quitting weed. I'm blazed as fuck. We're sitting there, and Isaiah's like, you know what? Like, my brother Chris just texted me, his stepbrother, and he's like, can you bring me a pound of weed? Because if you sell it at Holiday, if we drive it out to Holiday in Forest Lake, basically he gets $200 off. He makes $200. Chris was gonna pay him back for the thing. Chris was gonna get like a $50 fine or fee type deal.
Okay.
I'm like, you know what? We got this van. There's the hiding seat. We can just shove the pound of weed in there.
So you were moving.
Well, but what I didn't know is Isaiah wanted like a pound and a half because he wanted a half pound for himself. He was gonna spend his share of the money on that. So we put the shit in there. I'm like, it's fine. I can drive fine. I might be blazed as a bitch right now. I can barely drive, but that's fine. I turned on the van. Literally, the headlights are on. One of the headlights goes out immediately. I'm like, fuck. So we're in the ghetto, in the fucking Grand Caravan, which is the drug wagon. And we've got a pound and a half of weed.
The mystery machine.
Me and Isaiah are like, shit. And Isaiah's like, bro, it's fine. You just gotta drive super good. I'm like, I'm blazed as a bitch. One headlight, driving through the ghetto with a pound and a half of weed. I'm like, this is uncomfortable. So I'm sweating bullets. We're driving through the ghetto. Every car is a fucking cop behind me in my mind. I don't know how many cars there were. But I'm keep in mind, I'm incredibly fucking high. We smoked 4 blunts. Like, I'm like, I'll take a hit. All of a sudden, I smoke through 4 blunts with these bastards. And I'm driving. I'm literally sweating. I have the wheel, like, up to my fucking chest because I'm like, I need better control or something. And we're driving down 35. Every car behind me is a cop car. I'm like, Isaiah's like, we're on 35, dude. We're good now. You just got to drive fine. We actually make it. Of course, I'm sweaty as fuck. I'm scared. We get into Holiday's parking lot, and I park in the back of Holiday. He's like, park in the back of Holiday. This Holiday's right off the freeway. 50 fucking security cameras. I have one headlight.
Genius spot.
And Isaiah's like, okay. The kid's like, I don't want to go in the van so you guys don't rob me. I'm like, I'm not going to rob you. Like, how do you tell the kid, though?
Yeah.
Like, how do you tell the kid, I'm not going to rob you, get in the van, because I don't want to...
grew up in the ghetto in St.
No.
He didn't. It's
We're meeting up with a different kid. This kid's a Forest Lake kid, so he's just some, like, hick.
Right.
And I'm like, just get in the fucking van. And it sounds like I'm trying to rob the kid.
Right.
Like, get in the van, because we're on the side of the goddamn freeway. And Isaiah's like, it's fine. Shoves a fucking pound of weed under his shirt. It looks like he's a suicide bomber in goddamn Syria with a fucking suicide bomb under his thing. He's holding the weed up with his hand. Walks, and the other kid parked like 4 spots away. He's like, I need to park like 4 spots away so it's not suspicious. Like, we're getting out of the van and walking 4 spots. Just park right next to me. Literally, Isaiah gets out, a cop rounds the thing. And Isaiah, like, looks over. I look. I'm sweating bullets. I'm like, should I just take off?
Yeah, you're really mega sketchy.
Like, at this point, Isaiah's the one making the money. Isaiah offered to pay me $20 for my contributions. And smoke me up. But I'm like, I don't really smoke anymore, so I'll just take the $20. And he's like, I'll also give you a little bit of gas. So I made a $20 bill and like $10 in gas from Isaiah. So shout outs to Isaiah. But Isaiah's got the fucking weed. He's standing like this, like a huge bag of marijuana under his shirt. And he walks over. The cop car goes by. Isaiah just turns his head. And I do not know how Isaiah didn't get pulled over. Cop car pulls by, gets back onto the road, and it's like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Just doesn't even
And then, so anyways, he sells the weed, gives me the $20. As we fill up, 2 more cop cars pull up to each side and start doing gas. I'm still blazed as fuck. I'm sweating. I'm like, they probably saw him. We're just calling back up. Now they're going to bust my ass. Because we still have a half pound of weed in the car, or a half ounce of weed, because Isaiah was trying to get some for himself to smoke.
Yeah.
So I'm sweating like a motherfucker. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is it for me. Time to go to jail. I was about to call Aidan and be like, I'm not coming back to Duluth because I've just been arrested. I'm like, you know what, this is it for me. I might as well just fill the gas, so at least the car has some gas when it gets impounded.
It looks
and
like
I go to prison for half a year, for 6 months for a fucking half ounce of weed. Well, the drug deal's over at this point. The guy works at Holiday, put the shit in his trunk, ran back inside Holiday. So I'm like, you know what, and the ironic thing is I'm the one getting fucked over.
You're right, yeah.
So I'm sitting there, I'm ready to be arrested. I fill up my car, turn the car on, and I just leave. Cops don't follow me. I'm like,
your
Jesus
headlight
Christ,
broken.
I am sweating. We ended up, and Isaiah's like, bro, we could go back to your dad's house, or we could go back to my house. This is when he still lived at the cult house in Blaine. Because, okay, Isaiah lived with the cult for a while. That's a story for another time. But
when we get him on, we'll ask him about it.
We'll ask him about the cult.
He was working at
DirecTV. The guy got arrested and the house got closed down.
What did he get arrested for?
For fraud.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, no, the guy got arrested for fraud. That's why Isaiah started working at AT&T.
But he had a massive trap house with like 40 people living
And
in
we
it.
still have like a half pound of weed. I'm like, fine, Isaiah. But now you're driving, and I'm just gonna, if the cops show up, I'm pretending to sleep. Because I'm so high, I think
And you
that'll
went in the
work. I'm
fetal
not getting
position
arrested.
and laid in the back.
No, I was just like this. I was doing the fake, oh god, the fake sleeping story. Maybe that one will be our final little story.
Fake
I
sleeping
can tell
story.
the fake sleeping story.
We'll do that one. That's a short story. But anyways, we get back to Isaiah's. We smoke a shitload of weed, drink a bunch, and that's it. Long story short, though, I no longer smoke marijuana. But that was the experience we had where Isaiah almost got us both arrested. And I still do not understand why we didn't go to the Running Aces parking lot, which is right next door, which is a massive fucking parking lot. Dude, at Running Aces, I smoked probably at least 50 joints in the Running Aces parking lot. Smoked the bowls hundreds of times. Running Aces, when Aidan lived up in Duluth and I was living here, Running Aces was the place. I'd pick people up at like 1 in the morning.
Gas
We'd go-
station?
Running Aces
It's a
is a
casino.
big casino and a horse
Yeah,
track.
genius.
And it's huge because the horse track can attract 1,000 people.
Yeah, there's just
so
cars
it's
everywhere.
this huge parking lot. So you just park in the middle. Everybody's drunk as a bitch when they leave Running Aces. So if anyone comes, and no one cares.
No.
one even cares. If cops come in there, it's so big. They do their rounds, and all you do is put the bowl down or whatever. But cops almost never come there unless
they
they
don't.
actually get called. So
Why would
it
they?
was like the marijuana safe house. Granted, we could just smoke at my dad's house in the garage.
I was gonna
'cause
say
no
you
one
could
cared.
just do it like you guys lived there. I'm sure you could.
But a lot of the
gone to
times,
the place
I would be like meeting someone to do a drug deal or something. Like one of my friends would buy drugs, and then we'd pull up there, and everyone would smoke each other up, and they'd leave.
I guess, yeah,
Because that's kind of how it went. It was kind of a good meeting spot when the people were too sketchy to come to the house. You know, come back to my place.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like Blake. Oh God, dude! I always remember just more stories.
I wanna
this
tell
pod. I don't want to do too many stories today because we gotta get more episodes of this podcast.
Yeah. Dude, I
Let's do
guarantee
this podcast.
The
Every
Blake
Monday.
story is fun
Every
though because
Tuesday.
I got to become a mafia member
the
for
fake
a day.
the fake
That
sleeping
was
story.
No. The
Yeah.
fake sleeping story is another thing.
Okay.
Our
Should we
friend
do
Reed,
the- should
friend
we-
Reed invited this guy named Blake over. And long
Wait,
story
should we
short-
tell the story though?
We can tell the extended version later, but essentially, he stole a bunch of shit from us. and-
Actually, this story's so good. Maybe we should
Okay,
just.
I'll-
It's a
I'll
special.
tell-
It's
I'll
the
tell-
first
I'll tell.
episode. Just go from the start.
So basically,
Actually, I'll go from the start. You can get the other half once we get to the whole
The juicy
shit.
half.
the
I'm
part
good.
where
juicy
Connor's
half.
at work.
Okay, so what happens is, I had a friend Reed. He was kind of like a cool kid. I wasn't a super cool kid in high school until like after I graduated high school. I became like the most popular.
Well, yeah,
in like
'cause high
senior
school
year,
kids love college
in
kids.
senior year when my dad was gone, I would just live at his house and we would fucking party there all the time because I pretty much lived there alone. Aidan was up in Duluth, and it was lit. So basically, me and my friend Reed was like the most popular kid in his grade, but he fucking fucked with me because we would just smoke a shitload of weed and my house was sweet. And Reed's a good guy. Shout out Reed, even though he can sometimes be a retard.
Reed sells me
He's
like
never
40
gonna read
bucks.
this. Yeah, I mean Reed owes everyone like $40. That's Reed. Reed was the type of kid that would just have sex with a girl to get free alcohol from me.
What?
As the plug.
Yeah, it
He would
doesn't
have
matter.
sex
It
with
doesn't
girls
matter.
all the time. Like
Right,
literally,
but he
one
get
time
alcohol.
we went to this party. Reed has
Stop
sex
telling
with this
side
chick,
stories.
steals the Hennessy from this chick. The
Uh-huh.
chick's like, somehow Reed
You
said,
told me
"I will
about
have sex with you if you give me free Hennessy."
You know what story
And
I
she
just
takes the
remembered?
Hennessy. We take the Hennessy. He's like, I just got done having sex with her. Let's get out of here. She's
I
like,
remember-
Reed, are you leaving? He's like, I really gotta go. Fucking Hennessy's tucked in his pocket. Alex Gerard's story.
I was just about to say.
Yes, that one's next. Okay, we're just gonna keep
No,
telling
we gotta
stories
do
till
the
we get
Blake
bored.
story. We
The
gotta do
Blake
the
story. So Reed and
And then
I
we
are
can-
out at this park. We used to smoke weed at this Belts park. Oh my god, the time we pretended to be police officers.
What?
Okay, first the Blake story, then the police officer
No,
story.
we'll
then
just the police
Alex.
story we can do another
No,
time.
I'm telling the
Oh,
police
okay.
story right now. Me and Reed are at Belch Park because we like smoking weed there. It was fun. We'd smoke weed there, and one time these kids show up and they start vaping. They're at the other side of the park, and Reed's like, damn, dude, this is our park at this time of the night. And I'm like, they're just little kids. They're having fun. They're with their girlfriends. They're like 14. So they're the little girlfriends. They're all vaping and trying to be impressive. And all of a sudden, Reed comes up. He's like undercover police officer. Because we stole this badge from Walmart and it says sheriff on it. All it says is sheriff.
So it's like a
And it's
toy.
like the cheapest thing ever.
Yeah.
It was metal. It was actually
It was-
metal.
oh, okay.
But he puts it in his wallet, pins it to his wallet. He's like, check this out. He's like, sheriff. And they're like, oh my God. And you see the kids start sweating. And he's like, what are you guys doing here? They're like, we're just hanging out at the park. He's like, you understand it's past curfew? And they're like, yes, we understand, officer. We'll go home right now. And he's like, what are those? And he's like, vapes. And I come up. I'm like, undercover police officer Connor here. And they're like, oh, God. And you can see him just freaking out. And we're like, ladies, go home. It's these two boys we need to speak to. And
did you not know these people at all?
No, actually, we didn't tell them to go home. No, we have no idea who these guys are.
Oh,
We're
okay.
just fucking with them.
Right.
We're like, girls, sit on the bench over there. But they were still close enough that they could hear everything. We're like, so what's going on tonight? And they're like, we're just coming out to have fun. And it's like, are those your girlfriends over there? They're like, yeah. It's like, you think it's cool just to vape in front of them, trying to impress them? I'm like, let me see the vape. I take a fucking rip off. I'm like, oh gosh. I'm like, this is nicotine. I can taste the nicotine in there. If it's no nicotine, it's technically legal. He's like, really? I'm like, well, maybe you should look up the law. And he's like, okay, I'm sorry, officer. And I'm like, I could confiscate this right now. Keep it for myself. Smoke it at my own house. And he's like, we're sorry, officer. Could we have those back? And I'm like, you know what? Today we're going to give them to you back. But what we want you to do is we want you to go over there and apologize to those ladies for getting them in this situation. They go over, they fucking apologize. And Reed's like, you know what else I want you to do? I want you to get the fuck out of this park right now. I want you to go the fuck home, and I want you to apologize. But first I want you to walk these ladies home. And they're like,
walk them home?
Walk them home. And I'm like, and explain what you did wrong to them. And one of the kids is on the verge of tears.
Right.
One of the kids is trying to act all tough with us, but it's like, we're fucking police officers.
Did you look like police
No.
officers?
Reed was in like a hoodie that reeked like marijuana. I'm in like a fucking Superman t-shirt or something. And we're like, get the fuck out of here right now. And explain to those ladies why you're sorry. And the girls were like in tears. And we're like, and I look over to Reed. I'm like, bro, are we going to hell? And he's like, oh, no, bro, that was funny. Let's smoke some weed. So then we got super baked, and then we went back to my house. That's the whole story.
Back to the Blake story.
Anyways,
because I want to tell my part.
Another time we were smoking weed at Belts Park. We're sitting at Belts Park on the swing.
God.
All of a sudden, we see this shirtless dude running. And Reed's like, damn, is that Blake? And I knew Blake because one time I was in the woods by the church and I was smoking weed and Blake showed up. I didn't know who Blake was at the time. And he's like, yo, what's up? And he actually was kind of scared at first. He's like, whoa. And then I'm like, dude, it's cool. We're just smoking weed. So I smoked weed with Blake. And then I'm like, I could probably invite this kid to the house. Mm-hmm. He was on 3 Xanax at the time. And he was taking a jog. He's like, bro, I'm just jogging. And I'm like, yo, okay. And then Reed's like, bro, can Blake stay over? Blake's cool as hell. I'm like, okay. He's like, yeah, I had a class with him once. I'm like, all right, what's the harm? People would stay at my dad's house all the time. Xanax dealers, coke dealers, marijuana dealers. Don't do drugs anymore. Probably wouldn't hang out with most of the kids I did back in the day. Real shit.
It was a trap house. So.
I made my wholesome childhood home into a trap house.
Yeah, basically.
I made it a trap house. I made it a drug den. I almost OD'd there. Other people almost OD'd there. It's amazing I'm still alive.
Josh Stenberg used to have sex on our carpet.
Josh Stenberg used to have sex on my carpet.
Sex.
We used to cut up weed there. I thought, what's the harm of having Blake over? In the morning, I'm like, I gotta go to work, guys. Just head out whenever. Because Reed could just, like, Reed, Isaiah, most of the people that would hang out there, I would just be like, stay at the house. I had people stay at my house for like 5 straight days. I didn't give a shit. I'm like, I go to work, I come back. Yeah, somehow no one stole shit. Then I come back and I'm like, okay, I'm about to play some DS. I try to pull out my DS. I'm like, where the fuck's my DS? My PlayStation's gone. He even steals my Game Boy.
I was looking around.
What the hell?
He took like a Game Boy.
He took like all the
DS,
handhelds.
a PSP. He didn't take any games or anything, surprisingly. He just grabbed like all the consoles.
Like,
yeah, and he didn't like steal the Xbox.
Looks like it's worth something.
He didn't steal the Xbox or anything. So I go to work.
What?
Yep, Connor's at work.
Oh no, I'm at work. I didn't realize it was Aidan that was trying to play DS.
And basically, what happened?
Aidan calls me. He's like, "Who the fuck was here at your house?" I'm like, "It's Blake."
Yeah, I don't remember if I wasn't there, if I was asleep or something. I might have been at someone else's house.
I think you were at Micah's that night or something.
I might have been. But I came home and
you were playing board games. I was with
I came
Reed
home
that
and a
night.
bunch of shit was
We smoked
gone.
a shitload of weed and that kid Xanax died almost.
And fucking Blake took all our shit.
So we called
And
Reed.
I was fucking.
Aidan's like, Reed stole the shit. I'm like,
pissed.
no, it was Blake.
Yeah, so I went and picked up Reed. Connor's.
I'm like, Reed's a dumbass, but he wouldn't steal our shit like that. Reed's actually cool. I mean, he could be an asshole.
I went and picked up Reed, and Reed's
sure.
like, I didn't realize Blake would do this, and he was apologizing and shit. he gave me Blake's number, and I called Blake a lot, and I said some very
I literally,
threatening things.
dude, I basically said this fucking Xanax addict robbed my house, so I get out of work early. I'm like, sweet, because I didn't want to work that day. I wasn't feeling
anyway,
work. That was half the reason I left. I knew these motherfuckers.
We're driving around.
I've heard
Me and Reed are driving around, and we're looking for Blake. Blake was at his work. He worked at like a golf course kitchen, and
we went to the wrong golf course. Then we went to his house.
we went to the wrong golf
and we
course.
talked to his mom.
And then we went to his house, we talked to his mom, and then we
And
went
his
to
mom's like, his mom says this. His mom's like, oh my gosh, Blake's on probation right now. Blake can't get arrested. Do me a favor. Just kick his ass or something.
Yeah.
Don't get him arrested. We're like,
also
like,
met,
you know what?
like his
Make
7-year-old sister.
and they
It was
felt so
weird.
bad because the sister was like, who are you guys? And it's like the guys who are about to kick your brother's ass. Like,
Wow.
But anyway, we go to his actual work, and we're like standing outside and calling him and trying to get him to come out so we can
Right.
kick his ass and get our shit back.
Yeah.
And his boss comes out. He's like this big
huge
guy.
black dude. And the
He
son
comes out.
comes too.
His son?
No, actually his son doesn't come out.
His son doesn't come out. We met the son later. This black guy, he probably had to be,
Sit down, dude. 'cause
he had to
the
be
sound.
like 6'4", and he's like looming over us. And he comes out and he's like, "What are you guys doing outside my my restaurant?" And we're like, "Do you have someone named Blake working here?" And he's like, "Yep, I have a Blake. What did he do this time?"
Because yeah.
Blake's a fucking
Right.
Xanax
retard.
addict.
Yeah, a Xanax retard addict.
So
probably gonna
we're
try
like,
to pawn our
he
shit.
stole a bunch of shit from our house, and we're gonna kick his ass. And he's like, "I don't give a shit if you kick his ass, but you gotta wait until he's off work." So we go home, we're sitting around, and then at the end of the night, when Blake gets off, we go like right before he gets off, and the manager.
I'm sitting in the
walks
car
us in,
smoking blacks out back.
and the manager walks us into the restaurant after it's closed, and his son's there and all this shit, and the manager's talking.
Dude,
about
the
how-
manager wasn't it the manager and the son, or Blake's sitting in between the two.
It was the manager and the son, and Blake's like crying, and the manager and the son are basically like, "You can't have people showing up at our fucking restaurant and threatening you." 'Cause it's
We
gonna
weren't
scare
threatening them
customers.
because it was like.
I
well,
mean,
yeah,
you were.
we weren't. We're just like we want our shit back,
Well,
but he didn't
yeah.
want people showing up
But
asking
Blake's,
for
like,
their
crying.
shit back.
Blake-
It's not our fault that he stole
No,
our shit.
no.
Yeah,
so
Blake's
it's
like crying, and they fired him,
Wanted.
and we're just
Yeah,
like
they
talking
fired
about
him.
beating his ass. But essentially, the whole mafia thing worked.
Well,
so-
no. What happened after
go-
that
we
was
go to Blake's
we
house.
drop Aidan off. I'm like, we'll get the shit back. Or were you there when we went to Blake's house?
No, I was there. We went there, and he gave us all the shit
Me and
back.
Reed went in the garage. He starts handing me the shit, and then Reed is just Falcon punches this fucking dude to the ground. I'm
Yeah,
just
no,
like,
I
"Motherfucker,
took
do
all the
not
shit
come
and I
back."
walked back to the car, and Reed was like, "You're a fucking asshole, dude," and just punched him in the fucking nose and
Yeah.
knocked him the fuck down.
Damn.
Yeah, he's on the ground crying. I'm
But it was
just like,
fun because like I
motherfucker.
left.
But I saw Blake
At
later
first,
too because
I called Blake, and like my first few calls were like, "I need you to answer," and then he turned off his phone, and I started leaving messages. If those messages
Aidan was
got
pissed.
out-
He's like, "I fucking kill you."
Yeah,
like,
he
he was pissed.
I was fucking pissed.
I knew Aidan was gonna get that shit. I thought Aidan would be the one to wreck his ass, but
He actually gave me the shit.
dude,
Once
you got the shit, you're like,
that
"Oh,
was that was real shit. When Reed was like, "Don't
Yeah.
even worry about it. I was the one that introduced this. I'm gonna teach him a lesson." And Reed actually, like, he wasn't the biggest dude, like 5'6", 5'7", not the tallest guy. Dude could fucking Falcon punch the shit out of anybody. Like, I seen him take out bigger people than. And Blake's a small dude.
Yeah.
5'3", probably 120 pounds. Maybe
Blake is
at
more or
most.
less like the same size and shape as you. Actually, he's probably even
No,
shorter.
he's
probably
really
shorter.
skinny. He's
He's
like
a-
anorexic.
He's one skinny motherfucker, and Reed just fucking knocked
Dude.
him the fuck down.
Literally what happened is Reed's just like, you know what's coming, and Blake's like, yeah, and Reed just like, bam, and just knocked this fucker to the ground, and I'm like, holy shit, like, I was probably gonna punch the kid too, but he was like,
You just had adrenaline go through you. You're like, I want to hit him.
dude, I wanted to hit him too, but once he got his ass knocked to the ground after one,
But then you're
punch,
like, oh,
dude
damage
went
has been
down
done.
like a sack of potatoes. I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, I don't want to kill him
Yeah,
at this point.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Reed already fucking like
Yeah.
finishing move, scorpion, one punch to the ass. I'm like,
Get
holy
over here.
shit. And we gotta get Reed on this podcast.
Oh yeah, dude.
sometime.
I got a lot of
Reed
people
on
that I
here,
want to get
'cause-
on this podcast.
But anyways,
I love how all of your stories, in some way, shape, or form, were like, we were at this place smoking weed, we were at this other place smoking weed, and then we went to this other place
that's pretty
smoking
much
weed.
how my life was until
No,
I
I
quit
mean,
smoking
Yeah.
weed. Now it's
this-
just like
now at this
stupid
point
shit
it's like
happens.
we were at this place getting fucking hammered.
Yeah, now we sit here.
Now it's just
and-
like
and
we got
get-
fucking
and
hammered,
we get
whatever.
wasted.
But the point of the story is I see. So here's an afterthought. Aidan moves up to Duluth, probably only a couple months later, and I'm going to buy some marijuana. Pretty standard event in my life at this point.
Like
in time.
the stories always start.
We show up at none other than Belts Park.
Yes.
Blake and his girlfriend are there, and my friend Sam Hanton, which is my best friend from junior high and high school.
Can we tell the Sam Hanton story?
We can tell it. No, that story can't be told. I think he could still get arrested for that one. So, maybe once
Keep it. Let's not. Maybe
not.
at another time you can talk
There's
to
a
him
lot
and see
of
if we
things
could.
that Sam has done that's retarded. I want to get Sam on here. If Sam says it himself,
Exactly.
it's a good story. Do you know what story we're talking about? Because
No,
I'll tell
no
you
idea.
afterwards.
Yeah,
Because
okay.
it's a great story.
All right.
Anyways, Sam's in the front of the car. Me and Reed are here to pick up some weed, and I see Blake and his girlfriend. They're making out in the back seat. I'm like, hey, it's the kid that stole my shit. And Blake's like, oh god. He just gets quiet and like looks down. And his girlfriend, I actually knew his girlfriend for a long time. She's like, what's up, Connor? I'm like, your boyfriend stole all my shit. And she's like, really? You shouldn't do that to cool people. And it's like, and Blake's like, and it just gets quiet.
Right.
Sam's like, this pussy over here stole your shit? I gotta kick his ass for it. And Blake's like, oh, because Sam was also a motherfucker that could beat a motherfucker down.
Right.
But anyways, it was funny. It was just an awkward situation where he sat there. Then we got the weed. Also, Blake owed Reed a 20 bag of weed. And Reed's like, huh, maybe I'll have to kick your ass again if you don't give us the weed. And then Blake gave us like a 20 bag of weed for free. I don't even know if he owed Reed a 20 bag of weed, but he knew Reed would Falcon punch his ass if he didn't give him the weed. So I was an asshole back in the day, buddy. But anyways, the kid's an asshole.
We should probably start to wrap this up so we can watch a movie and talk about Rampage.
Anyways, this is our first episode of the
an
fucking
hour.
trapped out fucking troll. It was a beautiful episode. This is the getting arrested special. This is the doing illegal shit episode.
The weed and
special
police special
episode. Should we? So I guess are we doing the
An
podcast
outro?
every Tuesday?
We should do a weekly podcast.
Every Tuesday we'll do the podcast.
I'm down.
I'm fine with that, but it's Monday.
Well,
It's
we'd
probably
have
gonna be
to post it
uploaded
tomorrow,
Tuesday
right?
because it's 9:30 by the time we compress it and shit.
or later.
And I'm gonna have to make some art or something for it, so we'll get it uploaded. Anyways, guys, that was the getting arrested special. Next week we'll talk about many other stories. We just gotta get in some sort of tangent.
Oh,
I've already thought of.
We've got plenty of things to talk about. To be completely honest.
We did tease the Alex story. Should we save the Alex story or
No,
should
let's
we
just go through it. It's a short story. Let me tell it.
We can go.
So we go to. There's this guy. His name is Alex. He's
a Russian dude.
He's been Connor's friend for years. He's an adopted Russian.
Of course, he's a Russian. Slightly alcoholic.
Very
addicted
alcoholic,
to marijuana.
Very, 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 very marijuana.
Good guy. Shout out to Alex. We'll probably get Alex on this. It'll probably be really
sure.
awkward because Alex is an awkward motherfucker. But we'll get him on the podcast.
Basically, Alex comes to our house one night, and he says, "This girl invited me to a party, and there's gonna be lots of booze."
And Aiden's
Let's
like, no.
go." And I was like, nah.
I was like, no
shit's
at first, but then I was like, yeah, let's go to the party. I'm
Because
down
he
to
was
the
But
like,
party.
Alex came up with this plan
Yeah,
to
no,
steal
Alex is
the
a good
booze
friend.
from the party.
No, what happens is we get to the party, we're there, Aiden's like, this is so lame, and we were just sitting on the couch. This chick is super nice. She's like, you guys
everyone at the
want
party was
anything?
nice.
And there's all these like girls that are super nice, all these
The
dudes
party
that are
was,
really
like-
weird. The dudes there were fucking weird. Like there was this one shirtless dude that had like the hair of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And he was like running around. He's like, bro, I'm so drunk. I mean, it's like, okay. So I can see why these chicks probably wanted us hanging around because we
frat
were like
party.
the least weird motherfuckers there, and that's coming from Aiden and fucking Connor Hobson and
It was
rusty
a high school
Alex.
party, you know. Everyone was drinking.
Oh, okay.
Basically,
I think
Alex
we
was
just
like-
graduated high school.
Alex was like,
technically.
if this party's lame, then we'll just take the booze and go, you know.
and then
and
somehow
At first, I was like, no, and then I'm like, these people are Alex's friends, so they're probably like a bunch of fucking
weird gothic people,
weirdos, so we can steal it.
No
We get
offense,
to this
but
lady's-
Alex was a weird ass.
We get to this girl's house, and
She's
her
nice
parents
as-
were rich.
She was
but
telling us,
she
you
was
get to
so
pick
nice.
out. She was like, you guys can pick out the music. You guys can drink all you want for free.
If you
all
guys,
this shit.
If you guys can't go home,
We
you
hatched
can
the plan.
sleep on the couch. All this shit.
Nice.
Like we hatched this plan, assuming that they were the kind of people
Right.
Alex hung out with, but they were just like the most genuinely nice people ever.
Oh no.
But Alex basically comes up, and I'm like sitting on the couch. I'm a little bit drunk. Connor's on the couch. We're a little bit drunk. Alex comes up and he's like, it's time to steal the booze and get the fuck out of here. And so Alex brought a backpack with him because that was the plan.
So at first, I fill a bottle with Everclear. I'm like, we'll just mix this with something, like a little bit of this, mix with some Mountain Dew, we'll be fine. We won't steal that much. Let's not be assholes about it. And Alex is like, I agree. And then Alex opens it up, and there's all this liquor.
Yeah,
and Alex is like filling his backpack. I'm like, dude, okay.
How much?
There's like a 1.7. There's like 2 1.75s of Captain Morgan, and at first he took the
a ton of beers.
He took the one that was almost empty. It was like down to the end, just like this Kraken.
And there was one that was
he opened the fridge, and there's this unopened one, and he puts the one that's opened in the fridge and takes the unopened one, puts it in his bag, and he's like,
no, he takes the unopened one, puts it in the fridge, takes the open one.
Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah,
he said unopened in his bag, but whatever.
He steals the very full one. And he's like, all right, sorry, whatever, we have to go.
And they're like, oh my god, that's so sad.
You guys don't have to go. You can sleep on the couch if you guys want. We're like, oh, we don't want to impose.
They were like, we're just having a good time. It's just a bunch of us getting together, having a fun little party. And at this point, like, I was like, I even was like talking to Alex when he has the full thing. I'm like, dude, let's just stay. These people seem nice. We'll get drunk as a bitch, leaving early in the morning. And Alex is like, or we could go back to your house and get drunk as fuck, and we won't have to share the alcohol.
Yep.
And I'm like, you know what? And Aiden's like, you know what? Maybe it's a good idea. And I'm the only one that's like, no. But then they're like, come on. And I'm like, okay. So I grab a water bottle, fill it to the top with Everclear, screw that shit out, and toss it in the backpack.
You commit. You commit to the cause.
And like halfway home, Alex gets a call, and she's like, my boyfriend's drunk driving around. Where's all the alcohol? And Alex is like, I don't know what you're talking about. And hangs up. The next day, he gets a call, and it's like, it was all Aidan and Connor. I had no idea.
What?
He's like, I had to maintain my friendship. It's like, oh, I guess we're not going to see these people again, but we're the douchebags, even though Alex was the fucking culprit. Granted, I did take some Everclear, like a half water bottle's worth. I filled it to the top.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you just admitted
I filled it to the top.
I like how it was first. It was like I put some Everclear and then mixed it with Mountain Dew, and then
no, I said we were gonna go home and fill it with Mountain Dew.
Okay, yeah, and then you're like, I filled it to the top.
I filled it to the top. Okay,
Slowly admitting
I'll
to
admit,
the crime.
I wasn't innocent in the situation, but Alex was the most guilty, and Alex fucking threw our asses under the bus. I was like, let's stay, but once we were leaving, I was like, whatever. And honestly, I drank 3/4 of the Everclear before I even left the house. I drank a lot of Everclear. I was really hammered.
Yeah.
We were all really hammered. We had a ton of open containers, and we still had to drive like 25 miles home.
Nice. Genius. Don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah, the cops didn't catch us, so if anybody asks, we were lying right now. But
yes. It never happened.
Never happened.
Good story, though.
The point of the matter is, I think the point is that you should learn from us on this tranny troll, big dick trap man, whatever the fuck our podcast is called. You should learn that breaking the law is unacceptable, so don't do it. Learn from us. Learn from us. If you're a younger viewer, I want to tell you this right now.
We're like Dare, but
we're like
more
Dare.
accessible to
We're like
kids
Dare,
nowadays.
except we did the crimes. We never did the times somehow, amazingly. But the thing is, don't do crime. Don't smoke marijuana because it's an addictive drug. Every crime I've ever committed basically has to do with drugs, other than the time we climbed the church.
Oh, yeah.
We climbed the church, but this was the Tranny Troll podcast, and I think from all of us, Connor,
Aidan,
have a God bless you. God bless you. God bless you.
God loves you.
Subscribe to
God
NTMA
Jesus
Productions
loves you.
and
Yeah,
watch
subscribe
our
to
awesome
NTMA Productions,
videos.
co-podcasters on this podcast. NTMA Productions, where we make a bunch of good videos. This is Lake's new channel.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is-
We are. Yes, this is mine. Never
Oh
mind.
yeah, you're gonna be affiliate. You're gonna be listed right underneath Joey's defunct channel.
Yes. Also, check out Mike Oxlong. Maybe if we can get him over like 20 subscribers, he'll get off his ass and make another disgusting video where we drink sriracha sauce or do something retarded. Subscribe to
I
Shut
have
Up
to
and Game
pee
Guide,
so
and the most
fucking
racist
bad.
gaming
Alright.
channel.
Oh my.
In the name of the need to piss. Goodbye.
There's a monkey chasing a monkey.